In this video, we'll be walking through a few brief tips and tricks while utilizing the Corti Assistant. Starting in the left side menu, you can always access old sessions that you've previously recorded at any particular time. In this case, I'm going to stay within the session that I previously recorded today. Within the session, I can always restart my recording and add additional context or additional information. This could be a follow-up with a patient that you may want to place in the same session, or you may want to dictate additional notes or add additional context. Anytime context is updated, so let's say the patient is a 25-year-old male, all associated documentation will receive a warning, in which case you'll be able to one by one update that document with the new context information. If you need to add additional documents based on a prior session, the plus button will always be your friend and allow you to generate a new document based on previous sessions. You also have the option to generate documents in other languages. So if you have a brief clinical note that you've generated in English, but you may need to generate a brief clinical note in German, you'll note that all of my context and my sessions were spoken in English. But if I choose to generate a brief clinical note in German, it will automatically translate all of my text to German. To do so, you can click Generate New Document. Under the English section, you'll see More Languages, in which case you'll be able to choose from one of a number of supported languages. In which case, I will choose a quick French note. We can do a brief clinical note here and generate. You can now see that I have an English brief clinical note, a German brief clinical note, and French brief clinical note, all based off of English context. One function you'll also notice is the changing name of a button in the lower part of the screen. I'm going to start a new session so we can see the difference. I'll start a quick recording. The patient is a 35-year-old male who presents with nasal congestion. You'll note in a new session, the button starts off as stating default template. But in my old session, my button says generate. The difference here is I have not yet created a document utilizing my default template in the new session. Therefore, it gives me the option to do so. In my prior session, the brief clinical note is my default document. Since I have already generated this document, the system is going to prompt me to generate new documents outside of this document type. In this case, I would be able to generate patient summaries or brief clinical notes in other languages. If you may have significantly more context than what is shown here, or even multiple documents created, we have an AI assistant that will allow you to search and ask questions based on the information that's within your session. If I ask how old is the patient, the AI chat will be able to read through all of the context information and pull out the answer. This will be an easy way to query for mistakes or particular information that you may be looking for. Should you find a mistake, or if you just want to update information or add information utilizing the dictation tool, you can always click the plus button in line with any of the headers. You'll see the dictation microphone symbol on the right side of the text box. To make sure that you properly use the dictation tool, click on the microphone and wait for it to turn red before dictating. You'll notice that the words that I'm saying are going to start showing up in the text box. Once you're finished, click the microphone button again. When it turns gray, the WebSocket will be closed and your dictation will end. Note there may be a slight pause between clicking the button and when the button turns red, so make sure you do not start speaking until the microphone button turns red. This concludes the tips and tricks walkthrough. If you have any questions, please reach out to the Corti support team at help@corti.ai. Thank you.